Hello, everyone. Frank Lepore with Crestron Electronics here. We're going to learn a little bit about Zūm solutions. And thank you, Ron, for the introduction. Without further ado, let's get you going here on what we do here at Crestron Commercial Lighting. We're going to give a brief overview of everything that we do within the Zūm line. Now, the Zūm line is Crestron components that are designed for commercial applications. Now, under the umbrella of Zūm, we have the ability to have wireless devices, wired devices, and DIN rail devices, which is our newer version of panel-based design, which we'll go over, and we'll talk a little bit about management of all of these systems as well. What the key takeaway here is going to be as the design, the installation, and the management of any Zūm product within the umbrella is going to be easy. We've designed it for flawless and easy, efficient use, not only for the electrical contractor, but keeping the end user in mind. Let's talk a little bit about the wireless solution. Back in 2017, we released the wireless line. Now, it is not a new technology. We've used wireless for many, many years. However, we've built our wireless product on the Zigbee platform. Now, the Zigbee platform is a mesh network type device. What that means is that every one of the components is constantly communicating back and forth to each other. Being that it's a peer-to-peer and it's built on the Zigbee platform, which is an open protocol, we've designed the system with what is called 128-bit AES encryption. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that every bit of data that's communicating between every single one of the devices is completely encrypted and is able to be secure. So no one in that space is able to access the devices, change the devices, or control any lighting unless they have the specific application that has the same AES encryption code key, as well as a password to be able to access it. What's great about this system is when these products come out of the box, the electrical contractor installs them, every one of those components knows what its duty is in life, which means that if a plug load control is added, it knows that it needs to act like a plug load control. If it's a phase control device, it knows that it's going to control 2-wire phase dimming. In addition to that, you can have up to 32 overall devices in every given space. Now, what really sets us apart in the wireless world is the amount of square footage that we can cover with one single gateway. One of our gateways, which requires only a simple power over Ethernet connection, it can cover 196,000 square feet. Now, I'm not going to go into the math on how we figured that out. Just know that one box with one network connection can cover up to 196,000 square feet, and we can do that overall in a building 28 times, giving you somewhere in the realm of 5.8 million square feet of coverage for your wireless solution. And that's to say if you're using only wireless. But what happens when you have wireless in some areas, but you need some type of wired solution? Well, the wired solution is a little bit different in the sense that it's actually an Ethernet backbone system. That means that we run an Ethernet connection to up to 20 different rooms. And just like in the wireless world, those 20 different rooms can have 32 devices in them each. And off of one network connection back to a switch, we're able to communicate, gather information, and make sure that the system is running as it should. It does also give you the ability to do a couple of things that might come in handy if you're working with well buildings, as well as lead buildings. We build in to all of our wired devices CTs, basically current transformers that measure the amount of current and power that are being utilized. Now, both of these platforms, inclusive of what we're going to talk about next, we are completely fixture agnostic. And fixture agnostic, if you're not familiar with that term, that means that if it's 0 to 10, dolly, phase, switching, plug load control, any of those protocols are open to us, which means that any fixture is fine. We could even go as far as integrating with fixture-based control products with the utilization of Kasambi as part of our wired and wireless, as well as our DIN solutions. If you'd like to learn more about these products, we're happy to go through and create another presentation for you that will go through it in greater depth. And last but not least, we have the newly released DIN line. Now, we've taken all of the great features that we have within the wireless and the wired line, and we've incorporated it into a different form factor, which is a globally accepted standard, which is known as DIN. Now, DIN can be put into panels. It could be done as decentralized as well. So if you wanted to use smaller DIN enclosures and put them up into the plenum space, just like the wired solution and the wireless solution, that can be done as well. I'll have some images for you during this presentation so you know what the devices actually look like, so you have an idea. We'll also even discuss interfaces that we utilize and the broad breadth of really nice interfaces for those higher end applications or hotel applications, and we'll talk about that. Now, how does that all come together? Well, with Zoom management, we utilize a single processor. That single processor gives the end user complete control of every space. It also gives you a number of other features, such as internet security. This box or this processor, in essence, creates a firewall. The firewall protects the entire building's network from the lighting control network, which operates on a separate subnet. Again, that's something for a later conversation, but we can go through that as well in the future for you. Now, the management system can manage up to 1,000 spaces. When I use the term space, that basically constitutes a room, a conference room, a huddle space, a private office, whatever it is in the building that has 4 walls and a door is in essence considered a space or a room in our world. In addition to that, each one of those spaces has 9 BACnet objects that we provide for you at no additional charge, giving you a total of 9,000 BACnet licenses or objects that you can use to integrate smoothly into your building management system. Your building management system can pull cues, get information, access, or even change scenes, turn on and off lights, and do additional scheduling if there's something outside the realm of what the actual processor does. So if you needed to even do screen, or if you needed to do outlays or outlines of actual floor plans, those floor plans can be incorporated, added onto our touchscreen, and with a simple touch, just as if you were in a military movie, you touch that screen, it blows up that room. Now you have access from one of our touchscreens in a very clean and very interesting looking GUI or graphic user interface. Our DIN product is what we are using because our wired or panel-based solutions are now becoming an end-of-life product. That being said, the DIN product looks very much like this. This happens to be a 4 DIN wide space device, but in the panel you see underneath it, this is actually a 12 zone or up to 16. 12 to 16 is what we do in this panel. Centralized controller. Not to say that you couldn't take, like I mentioned before, 1 DIN rail or 2 DIN rails, put it up into a plenum space, and then do the room controls. Now, as I promised, I would show you what the form factors of the other devices look like. Now, to take a look at the wireless form factor, you can see that it's a standard 1/2-inch knockout, basically pretty much a power pack style configuration for wiring that the electrical contractor will install in a 4-inch square or any type of junction box that they might have up in the plenum space. Now, these are the devices that communicate wirelessly to wireless keypads, wireless sensors, and other wireless components within that space. We also have an option if you choose to not want to use or utilize battery operated sensors, or more importantly, if you need dual technology type sensors, we have an option to add analog sensors to the wireless platform, giving you the ability to now have powered wired sensors and utilize the wireless communication to actually have everything communicate together. Again, we are completely fixture agnostic. So any of the dimming protocols or switching protocols that you require, inclusive of some of the other solutions that are out there, such as Kasambi, are available to you with our product line. Now, our wired product line is also a half-inch knockout base, but you can see that there's a number of RJ45 or Ethernet style connections on it. The Ethernet style connections on the left are what we call Zūm Link, and that's how the wired system connects and communicates to all of the components that are within the space. The two Ethernet looking connections that are on the right, that's actually your Ethernet backbone. And the reason there's two there is because of what I mentioned earlier. I can take one Ethernet or network connection from one of my network switches, and then I can cascade or daisy chain up to 20 different spaces, again, having up to 32 different devices in each of the spaces. And again, that could be sensors, it could be keypads, and there's a lot of other things that are built into the wired product as well. Most importantly, you have the CTs that are included in it, but you also have a device that's integral into every single one of our wired components called a SIM, and that's short for sensor integration module. So if there is a sensor that's of a third-party nature, or you have an architect that's looking for a unique look of a sensor, if there's an analog sensor of it with no additional products or components that need to be added, you can take that wired sensor, incorporate it right into that SIM, and that SIM is that little green section on the inside of each of the boxes. You'll also notice that there's two styles of J boxes or power packs that you're looking at here. One is a network enabled device and the other is a link device. The link devices come in a multitude of different dimming protocols, whereas the net devices come in 0 to 10 and dolly. Now, as far as peripherals are concerned, of course, we have sensors, but we have keypads. Now, we have this style keypad, which is our Zūm Link. It is directly connected with the Zūm Link communication that I was mentioning just a moment ago, but it also has a unique feature that allows you to physically or wirelessly rather communicate to the system to do the configuration. Whether you're in the wireless, the wired, or the DIN platforms, all of our systems can be wirelessly commissioned and started up with something as simple as an iPhone, Android, or some form of tablet device. Now, the keypad comes in one version, which is a rocker, and the color is white as the standard, but you can get any of these color configurations simply by changing the button kit. Now, if this doesn't work for you, that's fine. We have a number of other solutions that are readily available. We're happy to announce that we've just released the Cameo 2 product. This is the second generation of Cameo keypads. Now, the Cameo 2 offers a multitude of different colors. The primary colors are going to be almond, white, black, and gray. Red is available on special order, but you can see here there's a few different versions of them, and those button configurations are almost limitless based on what you could possibly do. Now, all of these things are completely customizable, requiring a little bit of configuration and programming, of course, but it is very simple to do and simple to set up. So if you have a project that you're working with not only lighting, but you have shades as well, or you're working with, most importantly, an AV integrator that you're doing projection screens or video conferencing, things of that nature, you can have this one keypad do all of those macro configurations to execute the function. You walk into a conference room, you hit presentation mode, the lights dim at the certain zone levels, the screen comes on, the shades may come down, the audio turns on, giving the presenter the ability to take their computer, wireless or wired directly into the system, and now start the presentation very quickly and very efficiently. Maybe you need something that really sets that space apart or sets that area apart. Well, we have touchscreens available for you, probably the best in the world. We were one of the first organizations to ever have touchscreens that actually work with our system. Now, our touchscreens, because it works off of everything that we do with the Crestron background and security levels, our touchscreens are actually allowed to live on the HIPAA compliant storage server service. That service is called HL7. It is part of Epic, and it is something that you can actually have medical professionals, if these touchscreens are in a hospital right outside of the patient suite, they come in a number of different sizes. We have released two versions of a 5-inch that is landscape, much like you see here, but we could also have a 5-inch that's portrait. If you're using it in a medical facility, I recommend going with the 10-inch, but we also have a 21-inch available if needed. Now we can take that a step further. We have products much like the Black Nova product. A lot of the products that Black Nova, because they are one of our preferred providers of keypads, is that it is a captive touch system, and these happen to be made of glass. So this is highly customizable. This is just one of them that we work with. Meljack is another organization that we work with, and Basalt is another company that makes customized captive touch keypads. There's a couple of takeaways here that we're just going to reiterate about Zūm, and that is that it is not only easy to design and install, but it's easy to start up. This giving you the ability to easily commission, get TCO or C of O when the time comes, not only in residential, but in commercial, and most importantly, the government facilities that we do. Because of our security protocols, government facilities all over the world trust Crestron. So I'd like to thank you all for sitting through this presentation. We're looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks for your time. Take it away, guys.